Merry Christmas and welcome to Fats on Film. I am your host, Hannah Ogilvie, and this is the podcast where we discuss all things fat representation in film, TV, and wider media. This week, I have co-host of the I Spit on Your Grades podcast and returning guest back from Bridget Jones Diary. It's Faye. Hi, Faye.
Hello.
How's it going?
I went very high voice there, didn't I? Hello. How are you?
Whatever you're comfortable doing, we're good.
I'll smooth into it.
Yeah, I appreciate sometimes. I don't know if you have this, but I work from home, so I very rarely. I can go sometimes like hours without talking to anybody, and so when I do finally have that conversation with someone, it can my voice takes a while to actually mellow out into its natural rhythm.
I find as well since working from home that I've become much more Yorkshire because I'm not putting on my professional voice the whole time. So my Yorkshire's kind of slipping in and I'm becoming a really old Sheffield woman.
I love this idea that you have to put on this front for people at work, to sound like quote unquote more professional, which is apparently like diluting your accent, which is really sad, isn't it?
It is, but I don't blame them as well because they wouldn't be able to understand me if I.
Do you not think?
No. I don't know if you know Caitlin. Caitlin, Scared Cheapless.
Yes, Caitlin, our friend.
She says when we first started talking to each other, she struggled to understand some of the things I was saying.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm apparently broad. I didn't think I was, but I'm apparently broad Yorkshire, so.
I mean, I'm not a good judge either because I also live in Sheffield, so I'm just used to hearing it. So we kind of do need that outsider's perspective of like, is this a thick accent or not? It's like, so I grew up in Scotland, but my accent's like weakened over the years. And when I lived in Scotland, I never had a particularly strong accent because my mum is from London. So having that, naturalization, I never had the strongest accent. And then I moved to Spain when I was 13 years old. And I went to an international school with all these, like, mainly English kids. And everyone was saying, we can't understand you, you're too Scottish. And I was like, oh my God, what a mindfuck. I was either not Scottish enough or now I'm too Scottish. But either or, no one can understand me.
Oh no.
What do I do?
If it helps, you seem to have reached a happy medium now and I can fully understand what you're saying. So
fantastic. I mean, maybe this is complete tangent, but I did performing arts GCSE and we had this teacher. Her name was Mrs. Millington, and Faye hated her so much.
I loved my drama teacher.
Oh my God, well, I'm so jealous. I am so jealous because she, like, Miss Millington was just like, if she's listening, I hated you. And we had to do this. You might have to do this where you did like beginning of term kind of showcase of your talent type thing. And I did this monologue, and I put my whole like ass into this. I was like giving it, proper actress. And her comment was, "Your accent is far too thick. We need to work on your diction." And it scarred me. I was like, oh.
I think we need to work on your attitude, Miss Millington. Thank you.
No, honestly, truly, she really needed an attitude adjustment. Like, a very bitter woman. And but like for years I thought like, oh, I must have like really bad diction. And then as I've got older, I realized, oh, I actually didn't. She was just a cow.
Making it brief, because I know we're here for Love Actually, and I know we've got to go into it, but there's actually, my drama teacher was quite famous in Sheffield.
Oh my God, okay.
She was called Anne Sellers, and she was in the movie Threads, and she is, she's down on the cast list as woman who urinates, but it's not actually her.
No!
It's not her. So for years, all these people were thinking she was the woman who peed on herself, and it wasn't actually her. She's the one that scoops up a child and runs away.
What a legacy.
And she has now passed, unfortunately. So R.I.P. Miss Sellers. You're my favourite teacher.
Sidestep back into why we're here. I did say Merry Christmas at the top of this episode because we're here to talk about Love Actually. Love Actually, 2003 Christmas rom-com, written and directed. His directorial debut, Richard Curtis. I know. I just assumed he directed 4 Weddings, but apparently not. He just wrote it. I don't know who directed it. I could have researched that and I didn't. It features an ensemble cast, and I am going to go through it, of mainly British actors. We have Alan Rickman, Emma Thompson, Hugh Grant, Marty McCutcheon, Bill Nighy, Gregor Fisher, Keira Knightley, Chiwetel Ejiofor, Andrew Lincoln, Colin Firth. I'm going to say her name's Lucia Moniz. I apologise if I said that wrong.
Yeah.
Liam Neeson, Thomas Sangster, Laura Linney, Rodrigo Santoro. Oh my god, Rodrigo Santoro is so fucking hot in this film. Chris Marshall, Abdul Salas. I'm going to butcher this name and I apologize. Heike Makach, maybe that's Mia. Martin Freeman, Joanna Page, and Olivia Olsen as Joanna. Love Actually was a box office success, grossing $246 million on a budget of around 40 to 45 million. It received a nomination at the Golden Globes for Best Motion Picture for a Musical or Comedy and Best Screenplay. BAFTA Best Supporting Actor won for Bill Nighy and nominated for Emma Thompson. And Marty McCutcheon won Best Newcomer at the Empire Awards, and Andrew Lincoln was also nominated.
What?
I just assumed, maybe this is wrong, because Bridget Jones did have an impact on the award circuit as well, and we've obviously spoken about that. But I personally wouldn't have thought it hit that level of standard.
No, it doesn't.
BAFTA. Bill Nighy won a BAFTA for this.
He's in it for like 12 minutes.
literally, yeah, I know. Oh my god!
I mean, he is one of the better characters. I will give him that. He feels a lot more fleshed out than some of them, while still not being fleshed out at all. But that's what I'll get onto with this film. That's the problem. I think. But,
yeah, absolutely. When you have a film where you have, I mean, I don't even know how many storylines it must have, but at least 8, right? At least eight intertwining storylines. You have to sacrifice character development. Because this is not going to be an 8-hour film, is it?
No. And it feels to me like Love Actually, maybe Richard Curtis had bits and bobs of ideas for other films and couldn't quite flesh them out and said, hey, let's just throw them all together. I don't know if that was his process, but that's certainly what it feels like to me.
Well, go into the plot synopsis and I'll give you some more on that.
The plot synopsis for it is basically 8 characters who are all intertwined somehow, but yet never seem to recognise each other in any scene. Don't get me started on that. It follows their lives over the Christmas period, and we have love, we have loss, we have grief. Everything you want to throw together in a Christmas film, this film has it. It's an ensemble piece, and that's about it. As simple as it is, really.
Yeah, it without going into the details of each storyline, yes, that is as simple as it can be. Like, it takes place, 5 weeks before Christmas, and we're kind of running up to Christmas, which is a busy time in anybody's life, I guess. But in these particular characters, they're having life-altering moments, which happen once in a blue moon, once in a millennia, and everything's happening at once. And you're right, when you mention characters who don't recognise that they've been together, for me, and I don't know if this is for you, at Juliet and Peter's wedding, you have Colin Firth and Laura Linney sitting next to each other, and they never interact again for a film, and clearly they just brought the two together to be like, see, everyone knows everyone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So let's talk. Let's set the scene then for the top. What do you like this film, Faye? Is it one of your go-to Christmas films every year?
It's a Christmas staple in my watches every single year.
Yep.
I cannot tell you why. I don't know why, because this film, every time I watch it, physically angers me to the point I go, what is going on? Why am I watching this? This is clearly just winding me up. But I have to watch it. I don't know why I have to. I think I want to buy into this Richard Curtis, It's a Wonderful Life, everything is grand. But then I just watch it thinking, you Tory. Everyone in it is basically, he's got a formula. And
Mm.
there's something about that formula that drags me in, and I don't know what it is, because I will never be able to relate to any of these characters. I don't have
Yeah.
the wealth. I don't have the
Yes.
location of their houses. I don't
No.
have their friends. I don't know why I want to watch it so much, but I do every single year.
Yeah. I mean, I'm the same. I think since 2003 when it came out, I have watched it every single year. And what's interesting is I remember having a conversation with my mum maybe the following year, or maybe, I don't know, sometime after this film came out. I remember, I mean, how old would I have been? I'd have been 11. And I remember going to my like, I don't think it's really good. I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean? It's a classic. It's a modern classic. Oh, it's so good. And, you know, Hugh Grant and Bill Nye. For me, this is definitely the first time I saw Bill Nye. So I think, so that was like my introduction to him as an actor. Bill Nye's so funny, like all this. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I guess I've kind of like gaslit myself for the past X amount of years going, oh no, it's a good film. It's a good film. And then when I watched it, I've literally just done this with The Holiday as well. So I recorded The Holiday with friend of the pod, Caitlin M. Cairns. And watching both of these films with this incredibly analytical lens that we've done for it, I go, oh, I have really strong reasons now why I didn't like this when I was younger. I'm not saying I'm never going to watch this film again. I will continue to watch it every year because it has become a British classic. But there is so much wrong with it. And, you know, you said there, part of the problem is, and we had the exact same problem with The Holiday, is its accessibility. So in The Holiday, all four of the main characters are in incredibly lucrative creative jobs, right? And in this, I had that exact same idea on like, well, what does everyone do for work? And everyone has like a really interesting creative, you know, what should I say, creative facing job, apart from arguably Chris Marshall, who is literally in catering. He seems to have the most working class job. And I'm not saying Joanna Page and Martin Freeman's job will be that highly paid, just being like lighting standards, but they're still within that creative industry.
Is that what you think they do, lighting standards?
Yeah, they
it's
are.
Never clear.
Yeah,
is that
they
what
are.
It is?
Yeah, they definitely are. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what they're filming. Because I mean,
that is not getting released in a cinema. I tell you that.
No,
that is too graphic.
Way too graphic. But yeah, they're meant to be lighting stand-ins.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow, Richard Curtis really doesn't know about that area of a job, does he? Jesus.
Even though he works on films, he should. But again, it's just like, oh well, let's just get Joanna Page's tits out. But you know what, Joanna? I hope you got paid. Good money. I'm Martin Freeman for that. I hope they got paid good money for those scenes, because I personally wouldn't feel overly comfortable just doing that for 5 minutes of screen time, but who knows?
No. The thing is as well, as you said with Chris Marshall, the Colin character,
yes,
he's got the most pointless storyline in this entire film. What is it? What does it do? It furthers nothing. It helps nobody. So it's almost saying, hey, this low-paid loser just wants to go to America and have sex.
That, I watched that and I went, this is Richard Curtis's fantasy. You know, the way that Chris speaks about Chris Marshall, Colin, is going to be really confusing because there's also Colin Firth. So Chris Marshall's Colin, he's really pervy. That's how we're introduced to him, you know, beautiful muffin for a beautiful lady. And he says in the car, English girls are stuck up. I should go to America. I have a cute British accent. They love British accents. And his friend's like, you don't have a British accent. He's like, yes, I do. I'm going to America. And it's this idea of you know, the thing is, any other film would have him go and fall flat on his face. But Richard Curtis gives him the ultimate fantasy where these four incredibly hot women, you know, Alicia Cuthbert, January Jones, baby January Jones at that, Shannon Elizabeth, Denise Richards, are all head over heels in love with him just because he has an accent. Not because of what he says, not because he's good looking, but because he has an accent. And I was like, this is just Richard Curtis wanking on camera to me. And I found it really, really off-putting this watch through.
I didn't think of that, but now I will think of nothing else.
Oh, well, there you are.
When I watch
that's my Christmas gift to you.
Thank you. What a gift.
What a gift. Oh, I know. I the thing is, again, when I was younger, I used to find the Chris Marshall character so funny because I like my family. I like how like ridiculous he is, you know. But watching it now as I'm older, probably not far off the age he was in this film, I'm like, oh, it's just really predatory.
It's odd.
It's
an odd storyline to have.
Oh no. It's 20 years old, this film.
The first time I saw it, I went to the cinema with an ex and we both walked out hating it.
Oh, interesting.
I hated it. I was like, what was that? And then I watched it back the next Christmas. I was like, oh, actually, it's got Alan Rickman in it, and you know, I quite like it.
Yeah,
and I, like you, I gaslit myself to believe that I really loved this film.
Yeah, but you're right that some of the actors in it, like Alan Rickman, like Emma Thompson, like Hugh Grant, like Colin Firth, they are like some of my favourite in British acting. Yeah. And so for that, I'm like, yeah, no, let's watch it, you know? It's just, when you pull back the one superficial layer, you realise there's not really much going on. And I was really struck this time about how Curtis clearly misunderstands what love and lust is. Because a lot of these characters just want to bang. They don't love each other. They just want to bang. And that's fine. That's fine. But that's not love. That is not love.
No. Was it Richard Curtis who did The Boat That Rocked as well?
Yes, it was him.
Oh, so that's obviously makes a lot of sense because that's more predatory behaviour in that film as well.
I've only ever saw it once and it would have been when it came out, so I don't remember it at all.
There was a scene with, oh my gosh, what's her name? Gemma Arterton?
Oh, yeah.
Gemma Arterton? Or another girl, I'm sorry, I forget which one it was, but there's a scene basically where one of them is going to be sleeping with a girl, going to be sleeping with what she believes is Nick Frost, and then Nick Frost goes off to the toilet and sends another guy out to have sex with her.
Oh.
Which essentially is, you know, but yeah, that kind of makes sense now in terms of that behaviour. I didn't make that connection before, but yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic. Love that. Yes. Love that for us. Okay. But anyway, so we've talked about how we feel about this film at the highest level, but why are we talking about this film on this podcast, Fats and Film, Faye?
For the fat representation. Or the mocking of certain plus size ladies in this film.
I know.
Some that aren't even plus size, all that aren't plus size. But
I was going to say, we have another Bridget Jones situation where we are being told that Marty McCutcheon's character played her character is Natalie, who, what is her role at 10 Downing Street? She is meant to be the tea person.
Tea girl.
Tea lady to Hugh Grant's Prime Minister. And we're told on multiple occasions that we are meant to view this woman, Marty McCutcheon, who is not fat, we're being told that she is. And it is so distressing and so sad. It's so sad.
I'm so over it. I'm so over Richard Curtis and the people he's married to telling me that somebody is fat when they're not.
I know.
There is nothing wrong. Marty McCutcheon looks stunning in this film.
She looks so good. She looks so good in this film. And I think she's great. I think she's so funny. The scene where she gets introduced to David and, she like, I didn't think I was going to fuck up on the first day. Opposite. That is so good. That's such good delivery. It's good writing. I'll give Curtis that. It's good writing there. Love it. And then when the woman comes around, she's like, "Did you see what I did?" I just went, bleh. So good. It's so
she's
good.
So cute in it.
She's so cute. And then obviously like Hugh Grant's incredibly power abusive Prime Minister. He is. He effectively gets her demoted.
Yes.
And that really pisses me off because it's not her fault. Billy Bob Thornton assaults her.
I watching that clip, I don't understand how that could be misinterpreted from the look on her face any other way.
She is shook. She looks terrified. And yet, Hugh Grant's response is to get the aide to replace her somewhere else, effectively demoting her. And that's when Annie goes, "Oh, the chubby girl. Oh, would we call her chubby? Oh, sizable arse there, yes, sir. Huge thighs. Huge thighs."
That actress were a bitch in Teachers, and she's a bitch in this as well. That's all I'll say.
Well, there we go.
She's a good actress. She is a good actress, but she plays bitchy characters. Which is weird. It's weird for him to defend her, especially after he sees her with Billy Bob Thornton and makes the assumption, obviously, that she's getting it on with him or she's interested in him. But then, I don't know how you can misinterpret that any other way. Or sorry, interpret that any other way. But when he makes his speech, oh God, he's all for saying to Billy Bob Thornton, "I'm not taking this bullying behaviour," as if what he has seen is him abusing his power there, but then gets her demoted. So pick a side, Grant. Which one?
No, see, I interpret the "fuck you, America" scene as if Billy Bob Thornton has played with his favourite toy without asking his permission. That's how I interpret it. He's gone, "How dare you play with my Natalie? That's my toy." And he's going, "You can't take my toys no more." And then he goes off on his speech. Also, on that speech is so highly regarded in pop culture, right? And Tony Blair had to make a statement about that speech, because he was actual real prime ministers can't do that because of consequences. That speech is barely 30 seconds long, and in my head though, I thought it went on for minutes.
It's trash. It's absolute trash. There was nothing to it. Yeah. It is not fleshed out in any way. It's just words. No, it's just shallow words. But they build up the momentum with the music. And people going on going, "Oh, look what he's doing! He's doing nothing. He's doing nothing at all.
Bare minimum." The music does so much heavy lifting in this film. All credit there, absolutely. But yeah, the prime ministers really make me laugh because when they have the meeting with the American side, and they're just saying the vaguest things. With all due respect, they were bad policies. What policies? They make it very clear that we're not going to say which party Hugh Grant's meant to represent, and we're going to talk about these incredibly high-level, vague stuff, so no one can insinuate what we're talking about. But it means it's just nothing. It's just word salad. It's so good. It's so funny to watch.
But it's not until you get older that you realise that there's nothing in that.
That's it. But you have to remember, Richard Curtis was older when he wrote this. We're older now, now we're watching it for 20 years going, "Oh, actually." But he was older when he wrote this. He should have realised there's actually no context here.
No, I think Love Actually as a whole feels like Curtis box ticking a lot. Obviously got some backlashes in you don't have black people in your films, you don't have gay people in your films. And I think he tries to hone in on this and go, "No, look, I do. I've put some in, see?" Come on. That's what it feels like this for me. But it's not, again, as I said at the beginning, it's not fleshed out, and this is the problem. Yeah. With every storyline you get, it's just a passing moment. And I guess it's supposed to be because you can't concentrate on all these characters at once. But that's what makes it feel empty.
Well, you've brought me back to that. So I read in the trivia that Richard Curtis had two film ideas. So one film idea was the Prime Minister falling in love with a staff member of Downing Street. And another film idea was basically the Colin Firth Aurelia storyline where his wife or girlfriend cheats and he goes to the French chateau. Again, Where is it? Where are we?
The money and the time to just go off
Go
to a
to
French
the chateau.
chateau.
To right, yeah, amazing. With Aurelia, and yeah. So those were two different film ideas he had, and then I think he realized that they weren't enough to have a film on their own, so he brought them together, and that's where Love Actually came from.
Yeah, it shows.
Yeah, exactly. The fact that you called that without knowing that proves everything.
Yeah. Do better, Curtis. Write better films.
just
write better scripts. And what have you and your wife got against fat people?
Well, let's go back to that then. So why is it so important to the storyline that the film is trying to tell the audience that she's bigger? Why is that so important?
I think Curtis and Fielding love to do this thing where they will see a weightier girl, let's say, because they're not overweight.
No, my God, no.
Not even weighty. I can't even give a name for it. But they think that their representation of an overweight person is relatable, and that's what will draw you into that character and make you love them. They're not skinny. They're not American. You know, in Bridget Jones, where he cheats and you've got your skinny American. That's people don't want to watch that. People don't want to relate to somebody like that, and they can't. So if you have someone who's real looking, then they're more inclined to like them. I think that's what they think when they're writing these characters.
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic deduction, because you're right. Natalie is meant to be the every girl, isn't she? You know, it'd be amazing to see how does she end up in this job? You know, but she's clearly from a relatively working class background. You know, she lives with her parents. You know, she lives in a terraced house. You know, she's just, from her accent, you can tell she probably didn't go to public school. Like, all of these things make sense. And then you add on the fact that she's carrying maybe a bit more weight on the bones. Like, I genuinely, and I'm not saying this because of the theme of this podcast, I'm saying this as a genuine human being, I do not see it. I do not see it. No. There's a scene where she's literally profile on, and she's tiny. She is literally tiny. But I went looking to see what Martine McCutcheon thought of this. So there's a few articles that she has commented on this. So this is from The Sun. I'm sorry, okay? So it says, in the years that followed, many fumed over the alleged sizist comments in Love Actually. But the actress defended the film in a 2017 Cosmopolitan interview. Martine said, "You're meant to go, no, she's not overweight. I think she's lovely." She insisted that Natalie was meant to be a beautiful girl, highlighted by her being able to turn the Prime Minister's head. So far, I agree with that, right? She's beautiful. We as the audience are meant to go, she's not fat. Martine then goes on to say that the jibes were meant to help other women realize that their issues, in air quotes, with weight, in it with air quotes, weren't real issues. She explained, quote, "Every woman thinks there's something wrong with them when in actual fact they are perfect and lovely as they are. Natalie was meant to be the embodiment of that, and I think sometimes people have missed that point." Faye, your thoughts?
Have that as your narrative then. Have that come over on screen. Don't blink twice if you're okay, Martine McCutcheon, because I think Richard Curtis has you under something here. I don't buy that at all. I'm sorry. It feels too cruel a jibe. It feels like they're saying that it's not okay to be that size. Yeah. And I'm not buying what she's saying.
No, I couldn't agree more with you. Like, when I read that, I went, and I no disrespect to Martine, I really don't mean to sound rude, but I'm going to come across as rude. I genuinely think she's misunderstood her plot, because there's no way you would get that reading from what you see. And because I was explaining this to my partner, and we'll get into it in a second, but Emma Thompson, her character Karen, she has a line where she goes, "I feel fat," and Alan Rickman's Harry goes, "Oh, don't be ridiculous." Now, if Natalie had said that, and then Martine McCutcheon said this, I would understand these two thoughts coming together. Because it is, if Natalie was the one saying, "Oh, I'm fat," And then Hugh Grant was being like, oh, would we call her chubby? Like, that kind of thing. I would just totally understand this point of view. Like, you know, the audience in the film was like, no, you're not fat, you're not. But Natalie herself never calls herself fat. It's the people around her. And therefore, it's not an insecurity that women have, and they're not real issues, to, like, air quote Martine. This is what the film has an issue with.
Yep. It's like, in an ideal world, you would have Emma Thompson say, I feel fat. And then Alan Rickman would turn around and go, wouldn't matter if you would. Happy with you at any size. Rather than go, don't be ridiculous, because don't be ridiculous, you're not fat. Puts that negative slant on it again.
You're so right. Yeah. Like, what's wrong with being fat? Like, what's wrong with it?
Exactly. That's my point. Yeah. But this was 2003. 2003. Times have changed since. That's 20 years ago. Times are different.
100% agree. There's just one more thing I want to say that Martine said. So this is in an article for Digital Spy. So this is a quote. First of all, it's another woman, meaning Annie, the aide, that mentions Natalie's weight and Natalie herself. Of course, it's easy to say now, we would have done this, we would have done that. But I also think the characters weren't being politically correct. They weren't perfect humans. They were talking about their insecurities, their affairs. Natalie, bless her, is so innocent in telling the Prime Minister about her insecurities, and I think that's part of what makes it so charming and real. There are a lot of things that you're not allowed to say now, but I think that in a film that covers so much emotion and so much love, you need a little bit of reality in there. It's not always about ticking all the boxes.
I understand what she's saying.
I think she's conflating two things.
You get people who go about, let's say, racist stuff, and people will go, you used to be able to say this.
Yeah.
You used to be able to, you can't say that anymore.
Yeah.
There's a reason you can't say that anymore.
Yeah.
You know, what do you think of it? What
I think I understand where she's coming from. I just don't think she executes it very well in what she says, because again, like, Natalie herself doesn't call herself fat. But she says that she does, and that's wrong. Unless there's a deleted scene where she does, and she doesn't remember that it's not in the final cut. I don't know, but she doesn't actually say that. And also, like, yeah, the characters weren't being PC, but they're also not being right either, because Natalie isn't fat. Like, she just isn't. She's just a little. I don't know. Maybe she's a size 10 instead of a size 6. Maybe it's something as basic as that. And yet, the problem is, it's like not recognizing what calling someone who's a size 10 as fat, chubby, plumpy. What does the dad call her? Plumpy.
Something like that.
Plumpy. And then, like, at the just to really hammer home how much this film hates Natalie. The last two lines of this film are when Natalie runs into David's arms. Side note, she'd have been shot on sight. There's no way she'd have been able to do that. Runs into his arms and he lifts her up in his really romantic kiss, and he says, "Gosh, you weigh a lot." And she goes, "Shut your face." Which is completely the right response, by the way. But why? Why did he have to say that?
He didn't.
No.
But this is freaking Curtis's obsession with constantly bringing up women's weight.
And bringing them down, undermining them.
Well, I'll say the same as I said last time, though. This I won't go into it a lot, because obviously I bored you to tears with it last time.
No, you didn't.
But this is the era of body shaming of women. It was horrible, and it was going on so much. And maybe Curtis was taking influence from that and going, well, this is the times. And he's been reading Heat and going, yeah, actually, this person is overweight when they're not.
Yeah.
You know.
Totally. Well, on that, Richard Curtis did an interview for The Hollywood Reporter relatively recently. I did not note down the date or the year, but just take my word for it. I'll put a link in the show notes so you'll prove I'm not actually bullshitting. So he said, after noting that his daughter was right about not using the word fat anymore in his projects, he added, quote, "I think I was behind the curve, and those jokes aren't any longer funny. So I don't feel I was malicious at the time, but I think I was unobservant and not as clever as I should have been."
I'll give him that.
Yeah,
I'll give him that. Yeah,
I fully agree. There's what we do try to do on this podcast is we acknowledge that time has passed, but we have to recognize the impact this does have. Right, that's the thing. Like, I'm not saying you should completely erase media or art just because it's now offensive. I mean, I think there are definitely levels within that.
Yeah, of course.
But if we can have, people now watch Love Actually and be like, oh, fuck, this is so fat-phobic. That's fantastic. That's growth. That's evolution. If people still, in 2023, watch Love Actually and don't see what the problem is, that's an issue, you know? So I really appreciated Richard Curtis actually just acknowledging that he could have been better.
And that's a decent thing to do. That's like what you'd expect somebody to do in his position. So he gets that. He gets a pass on that for sure. Well, not a pass, but
no,
I've forgiven him a little.
That's pretty big of you.
Not a lot.
No. Okay,
just
fair. Just credit where credit's due. That's a decent thing to say. Yes.
Yeah. Agreed.
So, on the Natalie and David storyline, should we rank where we put this storyline out of the 8?
Oh, it's pretty low for me. I won't lie.
Is it low?
Yeah.
Is that just because of the Natalie stuff, or just the whole thing?
I mean, the thing is, that's all it. I can't really say that's all it is, because that's all it is to any of them. They only have their story, but it just seems that less interesting than some of them. I think, like with Emma Thompson and Alan Rickman's character, you've got genuine heart-wrenching emotion there. With Laura Linney's character, as much as you don't see it, it's horrible what she's going through. She's basically given up her life for a brother. The story with Liam Neeson and his son, again, he's dealing with his grief while trying to... It just seems, in the grand scheme of things, it's not the most interesting story. So I'd probably put it at... maybe 3, or if you're going high. Do you go high to low? Low to high?
Like, number 1's the top. So then,
Then probably about 6.
Okay, I'm going to put 6 for Faye. I don't know what I'm going to rank it, but you've already said, 4 storylines I like more than this, so I think it has to be at least a 5 at this point. Yeah. I'm going to put 5 for Hannah for now. Okay. Do you like Hugh Grant in this?
He's neither here nor there.
Really?
I'm indifferent. I really am. I love him in Bridget Jones.
Love.
I really do love him in Bridget Jones. He's horrible, but he plays a horrible character.
He's so good.
But he's a bit of a wet mop in this, I think.
See, I do like Hugh Grant in this. So I like how goofy he comes across in moments. There's that scene where he's walking away from Billy Bob Thornton and he double waves at Natalie. I literally laugh out loud at that because it's just so nerdy and it's just so cringe. I don't like the dancing scene. The dancing scene's been played to death, but I'll always sing along. And I like when he has to go to house to find Natalie, and he has to sing the Christmas carols to the little girls, and his copper's got this amazing voice. I think that's just a really cute little moment. But with everything you've said, I can't there isn't much emotion.
No. It's very much they're going to get together in the end.
Of course. That's going to happen. As soon as they latch eyes on each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. There's no risk. That's a really good way of putting it. Okay. Right. Well, let's move on then to Karen and Harry, who are Emma Thompson and Alan Rickman. So the reason why I put this next is because Karen is probably our next character who comments out her body, and there is a very clear comparison being made between Karen and Mia, who is Harry's secretary, which I find just repulsive. So the first thing I want to say, Faye, is did you know that Emma Thompson wore a fat suit for this?
No.
Yes.
Jeez.
I know.
Oh my God, no.
I know. Isn't it awful? Isn't it awful? So apparently Richard Curtis said that they wanted her to look more like a normal woman. And I think Emma Thompson is quite naturally slender. So they put a fat
obsession. Sorry.
No. Your anger is fully warranted.
That is mental. That
I
is
know.
absolutely insane.
Isn't it insane? Isn't it
Yeah.
insane?
I mean, especially for the point as well that it doesn't really serve anything in her storyline. I feel like if you're going to attack any insecurity of the character, it would be her age.
Yes.
I think it's, she's dealing with not being that young, sprightly person anymore.
But I think the film's interpretation of the age is via her body. Like, you know, she's a woman who's had 2 kids. You know, she's probably like, what, in her 40s? Compared to Mia, who must be like in her 20s, who has no kids. You know, we know that you know, women's bodies change with children. So I think that is the logic behind that reasoning.
Okay.
But yeah, like when I read that, it broke my damn heart. And so I love this storyline for like the content and how emotionally jarring it is, but it really, really breaks my heart, Faye.
It does every single time. And do you know what? Thinking about it, just now in this moment, that might be the reason I come back to this film. Is for this one storyline in particular, because you want to love Alan Rickman so much. He seems to love his wife, and
Does he?
you think nothing's going to come of it. You never actually see him and Mia do anything, but Alan Rickman has confirmed in interviews that they did sleep together, which is horrible.
Yeah, Emma Freud has, who's Richard Curtis's current wife, and she was the script editor. She's confirmed that they do sleep together.
Oh no. The most horrible thing about, I mean, I don't know if you saw me going off on Twitter last night. The ugliness of that necklace is just...
I did. I mean, who designed that?
Oh my God, it's like $9.99 from Argos back in 2002. Jesus. Awful.
Oh God, 275 quid, isn't it?
You what, sorry?
I think it's £275.
Ooh.
In 2003 money as well.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah,
that is
it's a lot of money.
It looks plastic. It looks awful. And she looks tarty as anything wearing it. It looks awful. But the thing that gets me about this scene the most, I mean, obviously, is Emma Thompson's hope that she is going to get a nice piece of jewellery for Christmas, but it's the fact that when she goes... 2 things, actually. When she goes and cries, that she has to let it out and then get it together for the kids. And she just pushes it aside for now. She's like, right, let's do this. But the fact that Emma Thompson drew on her real life experience to cry, and I hated Helena Bonham Carter for a while after this. Absolutely hated her. But they've made friends now, and they're all better, and they realise it's Kenneth Branagh that were a dick in this situation and not them.
For me, it's still on sight if I see Kenny B. Like... asshole.
I know.
I can't. I totally agree with you. I think this storyline is so interesting because Alan Rickman. Okay, so I fucking love Alan Rickman. He's such a tremendous actor. Like, and I know like everyone thinks that, but he really, really is. And in this role, which he could have played so sleazy, he could have played it so like obvious. And yet he chooses to play it with such subtlety and almost like he's so unsure of himself. He's so not sure that Mia does fancy him. He can't let himself believe it. Because like, I don't know, Alan Rickman's, I don't know, maybe in his late 40s, maybe in his early 50s in this film. And Mia, like say, like in her 20s, he's just not going to let himself believe it. And that he really does so well to show that kind of torment inside. Because you hear all the time about men who go after younger women. It helps them feel like they're getting their youth back. It helps them feel like their life isn't over. Gives them a distraction from like the family and the kids and the career and blah blah blah. All these reasons, all these like midlife crisis reasons why older men tend to stray away from their partners of X amount of years and go for younger people, but. Again, like any other film would have, the actor of choice would have played it a lot more obviously. But Alan is just so measured, and like even like the scene where we realize that the necklace has gone to Mia and it's actually the Joni Mitchell CD. Like Alan's face in that is like, he's so excited to give his wife a gift that's not the scarf, not the scarf. That's like the main thing. And then obviously, Karen knows that it's not the necklace, and she knows exactly where it's gone to as well. Like, she knows, like, the instinct was there from the very beginning. And Alan Rickman's face is just like, but I got the CD. I did good, right? And it's like, we know, you cheating dog. Like, fuck. How could you do this to our Emma? But it makes sense because Mia just throws herself at him. Complete opposite to Alan Rickman. Alan Rickman has all the tact in the world to a certain point. He's so subtle in his performance, where Mia is like, see where she's like her legs open?
I literally noticed that for the first time watching that yesterday, that her legs were wide open. I was like, whoa, that's a bit full on.
Isn't it? Could you imagine? Yeah. I mean, I honestly, like, I'd love to have a bit of her audacity. I would do so well with it. Like, the brazenness.
That's why they have her dressed up as a devil, isn't it? Because she clearly...
Please, can we talk about that? Why is she dressed as a devil at a Christmas party?
Purely to show that she's a horrible person. What a crappy way of doing it. We already knew, Nate. We already knew.
We know.
We didn't
We're there.
Holmes.
No.
Jesus.
Oh my God. Also, I think it's really interesting how Mia is meant to be friends with what's his name? What's Andrew Lincoln's character's name? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mark? Yes, Mark. So Mia is friends with Mark, right? And both Mia and Mark are wanting to be with someone who is unobtainable. And I think that's really interesting how both of these friends have these same moral, like, issues. Just one is acting on it and one isn't.
Yeah. I think maybe it's like their, I don't want to say lifestyle, but maybe how they view that they can just, well, they think, mind you, no, because Andrew Lincoln doesn't think he can get her. He doesn't want her to know. He wants to keep that to himself. He's like, I don't want my best friend to find out about this. But she clearly just goes for it.
Yeah. She definitely has, like, I don't know, she knows Alan Rickman is vulnerable. She knows if she just goes a little bit further, a little bit more obvious, a little bit more, that he will crumble. Like, any kind of sense of, like, being a husband or a family man will just fade away, because he's ultimately flattered by her attention. Like, do you think Mia actually fancies Alan Rickman, or do you think she fancies the power that he has, and maybe he has the power to buy her nice things, like that shite necklace?
Terrible Argos necklace. She comes across as a woman who is used to getting what she wants, and I think she just automatically thinks that if she takes an interest in someone, they're going to take an interest back in her. I think it's power move on her part, but yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I think it's a bit of both, because I also fancy Alan Rickman, so I get that. But I also think it's more of like a dominance thing. Like, it's like, I'm going to bag the boss, the husband, the unobtainable man. Personally, I mean, we don't know a lot about Mia at all as a person. We know that she fancies Alan Rickman and that she's a secretary, and that's it. That's all we know of her. Oh, and Natalie's neighbour. That's all we know.
There's a weird scene as well. I say weird. It's a blink and you'll miss it. And I think it's after the Christmas party they've been to, and Emma Thompson says, just be careful who you hang around with and who you talk to. And then we cut to Mia in her underwear for a split second, and I'm like, why?
So that is, Richard Curtis has confirmed, that is him comparing Emma Thompson's body, because, she has that slip on, so she's got a more, I'm going to say a word that might trigger some people, so I apologize, a more matronly outfit. And then we cut to the young Mia in her, like, washboard abs and her incredible, like, sexy underwear, and it's meant to be this direct comparison between Emma and Mia. And that's why that scene exists. Right. So we are literally comparing both women. We are comparing both women in their underwear. And this is like Alan's, like, fucking Sophie's choice, you know, like, oh, well, which one do you want? Do you want the, you know, the older woman who's been with her at least 13 years, or do you want this hot young thing? And again, like, the film is meant to be going, like, morally, obviously Alan Rickman shouldn't, but the temptation is too great. Like, she literally dresses the devil, Faye. Like, she is a temptress. And so, you know, like we said earlier, like, the film doesn't make it explicit that Mia and Harry do have sex, but it has been confirmed afterwards, like, you know, through the different writers and scripts and actors and stuff like that. And then they've also confirmed that, because there is a 2017 like Red Nose Day special thing. I haven't seen it. I've just read what the plot was in prep for this, but they don't show Harry and Karen's story. They're not in it, and I guess part of the reason is because Alan Rickman will have passed at that point. But they are meant to have stayed married, and Emma Freud has said, but home isn't as happy as it once was.
Right. I get the impression from the end that that's what happens when they're at the airport, because she's waiting for him. It doesn't feel like that's just for the kids. That feels like them. Yeah.
I have at least 2 times in my notes here just said, like, you need to divorce him, Karen. Like, life can be better than this. Like, I understand it's Alan Rickman, and I understand that obviously we have a lot of history and they've got the kids, but, like, he really takes advantage of her. Like, I don't know if you've heard that phrase, it's like really like popular on TikTok, but they're like, if he wanted to, he could.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, Alan Rickman's Harry is the definition of that. He could have bought Emma Thompson that shite necklace any day of the week, but he's actively choosing not to, because he knows, well, she'll just be happy with a scarf. But he chooses to get his secretary an expensive necklace, right? Because he has the ability to do that. He just chooses not to do that for his life partner.
I won't lie to you, though, I still wouldn't leave Alan Rickman.
No, even if he cheated on you with, what's her face, the devil?
I'd probably let it go. I wouldn't, I'm joking.
Okay, I was going to say, Faye, are we going to have a chat about...
No, every time I watch this, I always have to go into my head after and go, right, we're just going to picture Alan Rickman in the in-demand video, and everything is going to be okay. Fine. He's a nice guy.
He's a nice man. There is, you know how, like, couples have inside jokes. So me and my partner have, like, a few, like, movie quotes we'll just randomly say to each other, and one of ours is from Harry in Love Actually, where he just goes, "A classic fool." We say that to each other, but it's meant to be like a really, like, sad moment, right? But we just, this is the way that Alan Rickman says it in, like, his, like, nasally voice, like, "A classic fool." But then Emma Thompson, like, following up, goes like, "But you've made the life I lead foolish too." Breaks my heart. Oh,
it does. She's so good in that role. I know it's only for 10-15 minutes, however long it's for, but she's so good in it.
She's fantastic. I mean, obviously everyone loves the crying scene. She is phenomenal actress. She's a fantastic character. Like, there's something really, like, a magnetic about Karen. You know, how she's pulling all her kids together, and she's obviously, like, a really good mum. Like, she's fucking on it, and yet it's not enough, quote unquote. It's not enough. And I think, just, you know, coming back to what we talk about on this podcast, it's really fucking shit how they're comparing women's bodies and acting like one is more desirable than the other. So who can blame Harry? You know, I think that kind of explicit storytelling is really icky.
Have you seen, I think it's called Good Luck Leo Grand?
Oh, yes!
Yeah. So I like to think that she's gone from this to a more positive commentary on an older person's body. Such a good film.
Really I fully bawled my eyes out at the end. Like,
they were brilliant.
It was such a good film. Just to see a woman's body, like, so, like not in any light. It's not in a sexy light. It's not in an ugly light. It's just a body. It's just there. It's just such a fantastic closing scene. And full credit to Emma Thompson for doing that, because that is a brave scene to shoot. So
she was so good. So good. Oh, yeah. Love her.
Phenomenal.
But yeah, Yeah, so if you want it uplifting, that's your uplifting film for her. Sadly, not this one.
Not that. No, it's not this one, is it? Where are you gonna rank it?
Oh, this is number one for me.
Is this your one? Okay.
Yeah, this is my number one.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think. Oh no. I know what my number one is, so I know it's not that. So I think it has to be 2, but I might move it down again, controversially. Okay. We'll get there, because one of the storylines completely threw me this watch through. I was like, I actually really like this one, and we'll get there, because we'll taste it for later. Okay, so going to move on to Billy Mack and Manager Joe. So this is Bill Nighy and Gregor Fisher. Okay, so I put this third because I think, bar Aurelia's sister, who we never know her name, Joe is our only actually what I perceive to be a truly fat character. Like, Gregor Fisher is known to be a fat man, like he's always casting those roles. Oh, get your bag, do it.
He is Rhapsody Nesbitt.
He is Rhapsody Nesbitt. Yeah. So we have Billy Mack is like this aging rock star who's doing, the cheesy one-hit wonder for Christmas. And basically we're following those guys as they're kind of doing the whole press round for them, like, going on the Ant and Dec show. Oh, Ant and Dec are so funny in this film. I love it. And the biggest competition is Blue. And I was like, I want to know what Blue's song is, because I used to love Blue.
Surely Drive By. It's got to be Drive By, right?
Oh, yeah, so Christmassy.
Play by.
But this is actually the only thread where they have no connection to anybody else.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Everyone knows of Billy Mack because he's famous, but Billy Mack doesn't know any of our other characters.
No, he doesn't. Oh, that's weird. I never noticed that till now.
There you go.
Oh.
I bring stuff. So what are your thoughts on this storyline?
I think it's quite sweet.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a sweet storyline. I think Bill Nighy is great at playing aging rockers. If you watch like The Boat That Rock and what's it called? Still Crazy.
Okay.
This is his thing. This is what he likes. It's not. I don't want to say it's what he likes doing, but this is his thing. Mm-hmm. And it's there for comic relief. This whole "I'll get naked" on Christmas Eve if I get to number one.
Yes,
but you've also they don't explore it much. But this is the friendship one. This is this rather than any sort of love or despair or whatever. This is the friendship one, and I like that I like that Bill Nighy basically says that Billy, in a way, is like his partner because he doesn't want to be with anyone else bar him. Is happiest and comfiest when he's with him. Yeah. It's a good storyline. I like this one.
I think the platonic part is really nice. I just hate how Billy talks to Joe.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that's the point of it. He talks to him like a piece of trash.
Yeah,
but he does it out of like you're jabbing with your friends. I think he sees it as like bants, but it's not actually bants.
I totally hear you. I think that's how it's meant to be painted, but I would agree more if Joe gave it back. But Billy is going on like national radio calling him the ugliest man in the world. You know what I mean? I love the scene where Marcus Brigstocks DJ and that interview scene. I think is really like Bill Nighy is really good in this film. Like he is funny. But every time, like, Joe just looks so, like, upset or just so in despair, just, like, behind the camera is just, like, ah! And I just think, oh, Joe just needs a hug, man. Because even at the end, where he finds out he's got Christmas number one, and he's like, well, either I'm going to go back to my manager's, my fat manager's apartment and drink myself into like a coma or whatever he says, or I'm going to hang up this phone and get invites to all the most glamorous parties around town. And like, the thing is, if I was to agree with you that like this is banter, then Joe would have shouted out at that point like, "Oh, you'd be so lucky, mate." But he doesn't.
Yeah.
He cringes. He kind of shuts down, like just like, "Oh God, again." And I just think it's so sad.
I guess the point of it is to build this idea that he is the worst person in the world. So eventually, when you do get to the end, the Bill Nighy's character,
Billy,
sorry, sorry. What's his manager called? I should have done my research on this one. Joe, thank you. So I think the idea is you paint Billy in this light that he's the most awful person on the planet. So when it does get to the end and he does show that emotion, you go, "Oh, he's not actually a bad guy, really."
I do agree. You know? I do agree, and that's that scene where he explains that you've ended up being the love of my life. That's a really gorgeous line. That's so lovely, and platonic love is just as important as romantic love. Like, I know they're on different pedestals, but we need our friends, we need our friendship. Like, these are really important relationships to have. And I love how Bill Nighy, like, kind of the way he moves his hands because he's really awkward because he's like declaring his love for his mate. And then on that, I really don't like when Joe says, like, as he's confessing his love, Joe goes, 10 minutes to Elton John's, and you're as gay as a Christmas tree. And it's like,
yeah. Again, a different time.
I know.
I think, it's not acceptable. It wasn't acceptable back then, I don't think, but you could get away with saying something like that.
You could, but then this kind of touches on something else I noticed this watch through, which was there are so many jokes about, I say jokes, the setup is, I'm being inclusive in my language. And then the other person will have a punchline of, "Oh, well, I'm actually talking about a heteronormative thing." Like, so in this, like, we're talking about, Joe isn't saying in any way like being gay is bad, but he's ribbing his mate for like declaring his love to him in a platonic way. But then the film is in no way going, "But gay's bad." But it's just like it's this really awkward phrasing of it, and we have that again in other storylines. There's a good example coming up, and I just thought like, in a film where we have zero queer representation, zero, like, again, something I hadn't recognized my first few watches of this film. I was like, that's really obvious. And what I read after is that there was a lesbian storyline. So there was a lesbian. Yep. So the headmistress of the kids' school, we never meet her. This was all filmed. So they had that character, and she had a lesbian partner who was dying of cancer, and they completely cut the storyline out.
Oh no!
Yeah,
that's a shame.
That's a choice.
The thing is, as well, if you go back, my G say didn't direct it, but did he just write 4 Weddings?
I think he wrote 4 Weddings. Oh yeah, so like the John Hannah, Simon Callow.
The John Hannah character in 4 Weddings is done beautifully.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, I love him in that.
I love a film, especially when you watch an older film that just has like a gay person or a gay person existing, and you don't need to comment on it.
No,
and it's just there, and you just go with it. I love that. He writes that really well. You would have thought that would have been one of the things he'd have kept in to his favour,
Yeah. It's a choice. I don't know what the thinking was around cutting that specific one out, but they did. Yeah, they did.
Oh, especially when you could have cut it for Colin's storyline. Jesus, you could have got rid of that.
Oh, Faye. We're getting there. There's 2 things I want to mention about the Joe and Billy storyline. The Britney Spears shag joke really turned me off this time round.
Yeah. Oh, God, 2003 should have been what?
22.
Yeah, Jesus.
She's 1981, yeah. So that was grim. And then, have you seen the Red Nose special?
No.
Okay.
No.
So, Bill Nighy is in that, but Gregor Fisher, Joe, isn't. And they say that Joe has died from a heart attack. Gregor Fisher's still alive. So I don't know why they killed him off, but I just want to take a moment to say, one of the biggest fatphobic things that we as fat people can face is medical negligence, because people perceive us to constantly be unhealthy because apparently we're just walking placards for ill health. And one of the things is I get a lot in my comments existing on the internet is that I'm a drain on medical resources, or I'm going to die from a heart attack. God. Right? I should probably put a trigger warning before that. So I always get told, oh, I'm going to have a heart attack before I'm 30. I'm like, oh, you think I'm younger than 30? Thank you so much. But like the misconception is this idea that heart attacks only happen in fat people. Heart attacks, unfortunately, can happen to every single body type, any kind of walk in life. We know that. There are actually no fat specific diseases or fat specific illnesses, because anyone can get it. Like diabetes can happen to anybody. So I think it's a really interesting choice how they make our only fat character die of a heart attack in the little sequel special thing. Again, I don't know if it's that like detailed or that thought out, but I thought it was worth mentioning as someone who's really sensitive to that kind of representation.
I'm glad you mentioned it, because here I was thinking Richard Curtis had grown as a person. And if it is a choice to use it in that sense, then no, you've learned nothing, Curtis. You've learned nothing at all, mate.
So those little like 2 brownie points you gave him earlier, you're taking them back.
Take them away.
Taking them back.
That's it. You don't get them.
So what will you rank the Joe or the Billy and Joe storyline? That's probably a better way of doing it.
I would probably go 7th.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, you do not have to apologize. What am I gonna do? What have I got coming up? You know what? I think I'm gonna follow you, because I know what my 8th is.
Yeah.
So, okay. I think we might have the same 8th by. Okay. Oh, actually, I don't know, because there's still some I hate down here. I might have to redo this. I don't know. Jamie and Aurelia.
Oh, God. I mean, I know it's supposed to be romantic. And, oh my gosh, look at these people who don't speak the same language, but they speak the language of love.
Ah!
And they're saying the same thing, they just don't realise it. Bore off. Come on. If you've got enough money to just drop your responsibilities and go off to France and pay for a cleaner or a maid or whatever she's supposed to be, and then fly out on Christmas Eve, if you've got that kind of money, I don't feel any sympathy.
Any sympathy?
No. I don't want to say he's a Tory, but he's probably a Tory.
No, 100%.
Yeah. I love Colin Firth.
Love him.
Oh, especially in Bridget Jones, always Mr. Darcy over Hugh Grant.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, it's just such a boring storyline again.
Mm-hmm.
And I fully understand the push for it and how it should probably be the most romantic thing in the film, but it don't feel like it. Mm-hmm. It feels braggy, if anything. Oh, look at me with my lake. All right.
Like a lake with eels in it.
Yeah. Oh, fancy eels.
Fancy French eels.
Eels that come out with monocles and top hats. How'd you do?
The Mr. Monopoly man of eels.
But nah, sadly not invested in it at all. And oh my gosh, just hitting on a sister at the end.
Don't.
Like, everyone just hitting on a sister.
Don't. Well, she mentions the sister earlier on. She says, you'll turn up like my sister. You're getting chubbier every day. And he says, I have one of those constitutions where I never put on weight. You know, 'cause they're having their like mismatched conversation. Okay, so I would say I think this is my hottest couple. I think Colin Firth and I think her name's Luthia. I think they are so damn hot. I think they're such good looking people, and they have chemistry. I will not take that away from them. But from a purely plot point of view, this story blows. Like, I get we're meant to just go, it's so romantic, but it just comes across really cringy. And the bit that really I had to keep pausing it to write down notes, was he has flown back to France, where he's learned his Portuguese, in a couple of days. Like, literally, like, 24 hours has passed, and he's apparently learned enough Portuguese that he could go back to France to go to her dad and ask for her hand in marriage. They've never even had a conversation before, Faye. They've never even spoken. And apparently, and I know he goes like, oh, you know, like, you might not be as foolish or as crazy as me. He's like, you are an insane person, Jamie. That's an insane thing to do. And they were all meant to be like, you know, clapping, and, you know, the sister does say, like, my father's going to sell Aurelia to an Englishman as a slave. That's really funny, because that's exactly what you should say in the situation, because this is an insane turn of events. Just ask her for a drink, Colin.
Do you know who does insane stuff like this?
Who?
Rich people. Rich people,
because they can afford to get divorced.
He probably paid. We see him with his headphones on, learning languages. On the sly, he probably paid for like a language coach to help him, because he can do that. Oh god!
Honestly, it's so cringe.
It is funny though when he turns up to the house and he decides he's going to turn away, and the kids are going, "I hate Uncle Jamie. I hate Uncle Jamie."
Love the "I hate Uncle Jamie." That is really funny. And then, do you notice, like, the brother is in the back?
Yes, I did. Yes.
And I was, again, like,
sheepish.
Very sheepish. You know, seeing Sienna, I don't know how you ever say her last name. Is it Gullery? I never know. Jill Valentine from Resident Evil. Fucking love Resident Evil. Yeah, like, so, like, you know, she's cheated on him with the brother, and this is like a really awkward line delivery from Colin, which again, only a Tory could write this, which is, oh, did the lady of the house let you in? What a lovely obliging girl. Who says those words together? A lovely, obliging girl. What are you fucking talking about? She just opened the door. Oh, well, that's what you think. Obviously, you don't realise that, you know, he's been riding your missus. Yeah. But, you know.
Also, by the way, if I was sleeping with her and she gave me that line of "I need you at least 2 times before my idiot brother comes back, before your idiot brother comes back," wow, that went incestuous. I did not mean that. I wouldn't be sleeping with her, because that is cringe. That is
yeah. Hurry up, big boy. Oh my god, it's so wrong. And it's also like just like the least tactful thing you could say. You had like you would never scream if you're having such a like family destroying affair as this is. You would not just be screaming those incredibly I don't know, telltale words, you know?
Yeah.
Because like the brother could have left and Colin could have been none the wiser. But no, she just has to exclaim through this house which was called the Cottage, by the way. I don't know if you noticed that on the door. It's like called like the Rose Cottage or something like that.
See, rich people don't even have numbers.
They don't have numbers. They don't have numbers. No. Who needs numbers when there's names?
My house is called Live, Laugh, Love.
Oh, so the other bit of trivia I read, which literally made me want to be sick. Writer and director Richard Curtis and other members of the production had a 45-minute meeting to determine what colour underwear Aurelia would wear for the lake scene.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Mm-hmm.
What?
I know.
Why?
I know.
Oh, it's almost like, but why would you even be discussing that? Like, unless they didn't want to have him white because it would show too much arse crack. And then they sat there for 10 minutes and gone, well, how much arse crack is too much arse crack?
Or maybe we just don't show the arse.
Oh, freaking hell. It gets creepier with each fact I read about him. It gets weirder with every interview he does.
I know. And when I read that, I literally was just like, is this it?
Is this real life?
Is this what making a film is? You know, like 45 minutes discussing what colour underwear this poor actress should wear. Like, Poor woman.
I'm starting to think his wife doesn't sleep with him. Like, seriously, why else would you be on this obsessive level with such weird details?
Oh, it's gross. Okay.
Yeah.
And then I guess the other thing we should mention is Aurelia's sister is a larger woman. We don't know her name, but the father calls her Miss Duncan 2003.
Because apparently they have Dunkin'. As in Dunkin' Donuts?
Yeah, as in Dunkin' Donuts.
So they have Dunkin' Donuts over there? I don't think they do.
No.
Do they?
It's a very American, go-to phrase, isn't it? Yeah, Miss Le Patissiere, 2003. That would have been more culturally relevant.
Yeah.
If you're going to fat shame the woman, at least do it properly.
make it geographically accurate, thank you very much.
We're not asking for much here. All right.
What a tussle.
I know. It's just, I was literally about to say, you can't write it, but you can, because he wrote it. Honestly, there's so many sins in this script.
I think I cannot remember. Do you know, for the amount of times I've watched it, I literally wrote on the opening, "This is so cringe," and I cannot remember what happens. There's something really, really. Oh my god! I think it might be the wedding scene.
The Heathrow terminal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh. Cringe.
Love actually is all around. Don't know if you.
Every time I've been in an airport, I've been. If I'm coming back from holiday, I've been sweaty. I'm feeling dirty. I've been on a plane. I just want to get out of there. There's no hugging anyone or looking nice. I'm literally beelining for the door to get home.
See, I actually don't hate that. I don't hate the bookends. I think they're really cute. But I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff. I hate the monologue. I hate Hugh Grant's monologue. They're like, when I think about having the Twin Towers, I think the texts sent weren't of hate or revenge; they were filled of love. And it's like, I appreciate we're 2 years past 9/11 at this film, but I just think it's really I don't know. I find it just a bit gross. I don't know what the right word is, but it's it's intentionally trying to pull at the heartstrings by pulling in this incredibly major life event that we all witness, that we all have real emotional attachment to, and I think it's really lazy to pull that in for just a bit of an emotional gut punch. Ugh. Boo. Right, what we're gonna give Jamie and Aurelia?
Where am I? They're not the lowest.
I don't know. I will give you your overview in a bit.
I think 5. 5? I think. I know what my 8 is.
Okay, so I thought that was going to be your 8, because this is my 8.
Oh, it's not my 8.
Okay, so I now think I know what your 8 is. Next up, I think, is our throuple. We have Juliet, Peter, and Mark.
Oh.
So this is the Keira Knightley, Andrew Lincoln, and Chiwetel Ejiofor storyline. First off, how old do you think Keira is here?
If you were asking me how old I think the character is supposed to be, I'd probably say about 24, but I know her actual age in this.
Oh, do you? Yeah.
18.
18. Mm-hmm. How obscene is that?
I mean, it's not as obscene as Brad Pitt and Kirsten Dunst in Interview with the Vampire. That's obscene.
Was she 14 in that?
I think she was younger than 14. I'm sure she was younger than 14. I think she was 12.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Oh, that's gross. Emmy Rossum in the Phantom of the Opera film, she's 16 in that. And Patrick Wilson and Jerry B are in their 30s. Ugh.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good.
It's not fun. Anyway, I have such a soft spot for Keira Knightley.
Somebody has to.
Yeah, I'll take that, man. I'll take it on.
I don't hate Keira Knightley. I quite like Keira Knightley.
Yeah, I really do. I think she's good in this. She has a really difficult part to play, but I think she does the best of what she can.
She just constantly has Keira Knightley face, and that.
Sure.
I mean, I don't know. It feels overblown, and this is going to be this isn't a her thing. This is a direction thing. So when we find out that Mark has been filming her at the wedding and only her, you cut to all these shots of her. She's going away on the boat, and this isn't going to come across well on a podcast. But all you can see is, it's like, oh, why?
Yeah.
Why?
Constantly waving.
Yeah, and just looking out into the distance, looking beyond, sort of thing, and it just cringes me to my core. It really does.
Yeah. No, I get that. I really do get that. Right, okay, so I have such an issue with the storyline, but so does everyone. We've all reviewed the storyline, gone, okay, this is actually really fucking weird. Right, this is such a weird storyline. So you have Mark, Andrew Lincoln, obsessed with his best friend Peter's new wife, Juliet, right? What is so weird about this film, what's so weird about the storyline is that they never talk. He is outwardly hostile towards Juliet throughout this film. He clearly doesn't want to have a conversation with her, and yet he's apparently in love with her.
As he put it, self-preservation.
What does that mean? What does he mean by that?
I think he means he is cutting himself off from her so he doesn't have to face his feelings. And he knows that if he's cutting himself off from it, he won't act on it. It won't ruin a friendship with his best friend. It won't, if it did go the way he wanted, it wouldn't break up a marriage. That's what I think.
Let me throw this at you though. So when we first meet Peter and Mark at the altar, he says, no surprises, right? No surprises. Not like the stag do. Not like the stag do. Do you admit the prostitutes were a bad idea? Yes, I do. And wouldn't it be better that they weren't men? Yes. So in this scenario, we understand that Mark has set up a surprise at the stag do to bring prostitutes, sex workers, to the stag do. What did Mark intend Peter to do with those sex workers?
I always thought that was a joke. I thought they were joking around.
Do you?
Yeah.
So in my harebrained mind, I've gone, right, so Mark set Peter up to get Peter to have sex with a sex worker. He could then tell Juliet, call off the wedding, and then Mark could make his move on Juliet.
Yeah, you could also interpret it like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I think Mark's a cunt. I really do. I think he's an absolute asshole. Again, okay. So actually, this is probably my most hated storyline, which is why I'm going to have to rejig my ranking.
Oh, okay.
If my partner's best man had a camcorder attached to his hand the entire night, I would lose my mind.
Mm-hmm.
You're not the photographer. Get that out of your hand. It's ruining every shot. You know how nowadays when you go to weddings, they say, please don't take out your mobile phone during the ceremony because it's going to get in the shot. It's exactly the same. It's exactly the same. Mark put down the video camera, and then to find out the reason why he has it attached to his hand is because he's just creepily leering at Juliet the entire day. And it's meant to be his best mate's wedding, and he is the most selfish person in this film.
It's bombastic side eye with a capital B. awful person, and
he's awful.
And then to just adopt this dickish attitude where he makes his best friend think that he hates his new wife.
Be nice. Be nice to Juliet.
Yeah.
Don't be a dick.
Yeah. I mean, even when she finds out, it just chooses to run. Right? I know that furthers the storyline, and you wouldn't get to the horrible, creepy cards unless you had this storyline. But just talk it through and say, hey, listen, this is my situation. I'm never going to act on it. Sorry, I was being a dick to you. This is why. But no, he just runs and then scares that poor man in the street as he drops to his knees.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. Actually, on that note, the needle drops off this film. The soundtrack of this film is great. I love it. I love it.
It was everywhere, and the soundtrack everywhere.
Yeah, it really was. It really was. But that moment, I always love it. I always love watching that man really get spooked. It's so funny. That god awful hoodie that he's wearing with the color block. It's so ugly. I like Andrew Lincoln. Like, I really do like Andrew Lincoln. I think he's a fantastic actor. It's actually really weird to hear him in his English accent because we're just not used to it anymore. But he is, like, his character is objectively bad.
It's hard watch as well because I used to love him in Teachers. Properly loved his character.
Yes.
And in here, he's just a sniveling little weirdo.
Oh, he's a weirdo.
Yeah,
he's a weirdo. Andrew Lincoln has said in interviews, looking back, his character Mark is creepy and inappropriate, and that he wishes that they would have rewritten his scenes to make him appear more reasonable and normal about his feelings for Juliet. Yes, Andrew, that's exactly what should have happened.
You know what's not normal? Turning up to someone's house with a boombox and cards and pictures you've clearly printed out. Effort you have gone to, man. It does make me laugh, this scene though where it says pretend it's carol singers. Like that sounds like carol singers and not a full-fledged orchestra outside your door. I would be investigating.
Apparently Peter isn't smart. Like he just like lets this happen.
Oh man, and I used to think this was so romantic. I used to think it was a lovely thing.
So did I.
I think you look now and go, freaking hell.
I know.
You belong on a list, mate.
He does. He fully does. Oh, it's so creepy. And then I always thought I knew what this meant. But why does Juliet kiss him?
Maybe. I think to give him some sort of relief. And go, yeah. Because after that is like, enough now. Enough.
Enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. I think that is what it is. But I just watched it again and I was like, yeah, like, it's just such a weird, I don't know. It's almost like, I kind of just read it a bit of like as a reward. Like a reward for being honest. And I'm like, no, he's been a creeper. He has been a creeper. He deserves to be punished for being a creeper. Like, if that means being isolated or ostracized, I mean, he did film you.
I understand from her place, it's quite innocent. I don't believe she has any feelings for him. I don't believe she intends to take it further. But it's still not on. It's still
not on.
No, I still wouldn't like it if I found out my partner had been kissing someone else because they got a crush on him.
No.
That'd be weird. But
no, major boundaries get crossed in this particular storyline. And there's one other thing I was going to say. Oh yeah. Okay, so you know how I said earlier, like how we all have little like quotes we say to our partners. So I mentioned classic fool. So another quote I say,
I look quite pretty.
I look quite pretty.
I do it all the time. But you have to do the cheek with it as well.
No, the teeth. I look quite pretty. So for me, that is my so when you try to do another accent and you need a line to get you into it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, full disclosure, I'm god awful at accents. I can barely do my own. So for a posh English accent, I feel quite pretty. Because it's got all the cheese and you have to say pretty really weird. Oh, it's so fun. It's so satisfying.
If you ever want to go old English, you could, I always go Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, the witch.
Oh,
which goes, something vexes thee.
Something vexes thee.
Love it. Love that line.
Oh, great. I love
Rickman,
that. I love
more
it so
Rickman
much.
in my life all the time.
Yeah. He is a bit rapey in that one, though.
Oh, the thing is, I went to see that when I was younger, and I think it was my 12th birthday, I think it was, and I was there, me and my friends were all there, like, drooling over Christian Slater, going, oh my God. And my mum was like, oh, Alan Rickman. But now I've got older, I'm like, Christian Slater.
You've aged into Rickman.
I have,
No, he is phenomenal in that film. And I love that trivia that Costa was so angry about it. So disappointed that Rickman was showing him up. I'm like, well,
you're not if you're not Rickman in a film, you forget it.
Yeah, forget it. Like literally. Okay, where are you going to rank the Juliet, Mark, and Peter storyline?
Oh, are we
currently?
Are we counting Colin in this?
Yeah, we will do.
Right, okay. Then I'm probably going to go, I mean, purely for a lot of it comedy value and WTF moments, it's probably going to go 4.
I think they're going to be my number 6.
Okay. Fair.
Okay, so next it is Colin and the Americans.
Ugh.
We've already kind of mentioned everything I want to say about Colin and the Americans.
Yeah.
Because there really isn't much to say.
It's trashy, it's pointless, and I really don't know why this is in the film. I mean, apart from, suppose, like you said, his fantasy, it benefits no one else bar Curtis.
No. Is it your 8th?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. Perfect. It's my 8th as well.
Dead last
I've
place.
moved Martin Freeman and Joanna Pages. So I don't even know what their names are.
I think she's called Sarah, I believe.
Is she Sarah?
No,
she's Judy and he's John.
He's just Judy. She's just Judy, isn't she?
Yeah. That's
just
joke. Judy.
Yeah. I like these two.
Right. No. Faye, this was my... Oh my god, this is so much cuter than I remember.
Yeah, it's sweet.
Yeah, it's super sweet.
They're not dragging anyone else into this relationship. Somebody said online they've met at work. It's organic. It flows beautifully. They respect each other and they have nice conversation and they're just two nice people who end up going on a date. And
super respectful, you know, about, because they're in like a really like awkward, I know the whole point of the joke is like how they're meeting and it's so like literally in your face, like tits in your face, but they're so respectful of each other and they seem to be really comfortable around each other. And you know, his little like asking her out for a Christmas drink when she's like feigning like blowing him is so cute, and his little arms, I was like, yeah. And I've said in this podcast before, I am not the biggest Martin Freeman fan by a good way. I don't like him.
Okay.
But I find him really endearing in this film. And I think part of that is, this is pre-Hollywood Martin Freeman.
Yeah.
He looks like a bloke.
He does. Well, yeah, I mean, he always did. I'm a big Martin Freeman fan.
You are? Okay, no, good. We need this balance, because you didn't like Kira, I did. You like Martin, I don't. Yeah. So that's good. Balance.
I've been a big Martin Freeman fan since The Office.
Right.
And this is how this is Martin Freeman to me. This is how I know him.
Yes.
And how I recognise him, not him going, I mean, apart from Cargo were amazing. But like going off and doing all the Marvel stuff, it's, I hate that Marvel accent. He can't do an American accent. The only thing about this storyline that I really, really do not like is the moment when they're on the steps. And
yes.
They've had the kiss and that's all sweet and adorable and that's lovely. And he goes to walk away and Joanna Page, just Judy.
Yeah. Just Judy.
Oh God, I'm cringing just about to say it. When she says, all I want for Christmas is you. And I'm like, ugh!
It's you.
And I nearly vom at that line. I'm like, that is disgusting. If someone did that to me, I'd be like, sorry, we're not having a second date. See ya. I'm gone.
Oh my God. Imagine Faye. Imagine that actually happened in real life. Wouldn't you just die?
I'd die on them steps.
Pass away. It's so crazy. And I think also this film has a really big problem with editing. So that scene was clearly meant to happen after the concert scene, because that would make more sense. Like, she's just heard All I Want for Christmas Is You, so it makes sense why she would then say it to Martin Freeman afterwards. But we see it chronologically before that, so there's no context of why she would say that. I'm not saying it would make it better. I'm not saying it because it would still be cringe, but it would make it, the context would at least be there.
Yeah.
But the film removes the context. So it's just this really cringe line from Joanna. And God bless her, she tries her best with it, doesn't she? She tries her best, and that's all we can ever ask of anyone.
It's no hate to her. I love her as an actress. She's adorable in everything.
She's fantastic. She's so good. She's so good in this. They're both great in this. But you're right. That line is horrible. But I do like his little like jump off the like the stoop and the whoa, and then the walk off is so good.
Yeah.
they're definitely like, I don't know if this is a fair statement, but they feel to me like our most British couple.
Yeah. I'd say so like Alan Rickman and Emma Thompson, I feel they're very British, but they're like upper class British. They're not like working class British. These feel more like working class British.
Yeah.
More relatable. The most relatable
Yeah.
of the film, yeah.
Yeah, that's probably a good way of putting it. The most relatable couple. Okay. Where are you going to rank them?
3.
Yeah, I'm going to rank them 3 too.
Yeah.
So what are they called? We're called John and Judy, double J.
Yeah.
Okay, so we actually have 2 storylines left, so we actually have another place to put in.
Oh, do we?
Yeah, we do.
Oh.
Because next up, we have Daniel and Sam. Liam Neeson and Thomas Sangster.
We do have 2 left, yes. Sorry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, you're fine. It helps. So Daniel and Sam, we have stepdaddy Daniel and the son Sam, and mother/wife Joanne has recently just passed. And we find out that Sam has this super crush. I mean, he says he's in love, but, crush on the cool girl at school, the cool American girl at school. There's a lot of, like, this rhetoric in this film that Americans are cool and English people aren't.
Yeah.
Which I think is really weird. But yeah, she's the cool American girl at school, and they devise this plan that he's going to learn how to play drums within a few days in order to play drums at the Christmas concert while she's singing All I Want for Christmas Is You, which is an inappropriate song to sing for like an 11-year-old child, but whatever. And yeah, that's the storyline.
Can we just take a moment to mention Liam's character in that he's lost his wife?
Yeah, absolutely.
And how horrible Emma Thompson is to him when he wants to talk about it. If that was my friend.
She goes, get a grip. People hate sissies. No one's ever going to shag you if you cry all the time.
His wife is warm in the ground and she's coming out with stuff like that.
Have we? I think we've had the funeral scene by this time in the film. We've already had, like, when he's rang her because he's like, I've got no one else to talk to. And she's going, I'm absolutely, like, it's a really horrible time right now. Can I ring you back? I'm terribly sorry your wife has just died. Or, like, I'm very aware that your wife has just died. She's so blunt with her delivery. Mm-hmm. And it's so awkward because we don't see her be this cold or this, I don't know, unempathetic with anybody else in her life apart from with Daniel. Yeah.
Even to her brother, who we find out is Hugh Grant as the Prime Minister. Oh, yeah. She's still got some sort of warmth for him.
Absolutely. But absolutely.
I don't know what Liam Neeson's done to her.
No.
Horrible treatment. But, yeah.
It's so sad. I think Liam Neeson's my favourite performance.
I have a different one, and it's so stupid the reason why. But
no, that's fine. You hold on to it. But I think he's so good in this film.
He is.
He's so radiant. Like, I'm very thankful that I haven't gone through any major grief in the way that Daniel has. But I can appreciate the desire to focus on anything else rather than the grief. So the fact that he jumps feet first into like trying to get this crush to work out for Sam felt so real. And like how committed he is, like the whole, we need Leo, we need Kate, and we need them now. That's such a cute scene, and they're like mimicking, they're like flying over the sea. Like, it's just so cute. And he's so, he treats Sam like an adult, but still has that kind of child-parent boundary. Yeah. And I don't know, I just think there's something really gorgeous about their relationship. I absolutely love it.
It's because, to me, they're both healing. Like, Sam is jumping into it because he needs something to focus on as well. And it's the fact that it almost feels like they're doing something normal other than just sat there grieving. And I think that's probably why they feel so real with it. It's such a lovely storyline.
It really is.
Oh, bless him.
Yeah, I love it. I love it so much. And I think, again, we mentioned the Billy and Joe storyline's platonic. This is very, like, familial. And, we understand Dial being stepdad. But then the bit where, they say, we got to go to the airport. And he goes, okay, Dad. And he calls him Dad. And I'm just like, oh, baby. I mean, Thomas Sangster was the child actor, wasn't he? He was just in everything for a while.
I think he was only, what was it? There were 5 years difference between him and Keira Knightley in this film.
Mad.
Blows my mind.
Mad.
Yes.
Absolutely insane. And I also noticed there's a scene where I think it was when where Sam is explaining that he has fallen in love with this girl Joanne at school. You can see that the gherkin is being built in the background.
Oh, I didn't see that.
So I was just like, oh, I have no like concept of when the gherkin was open, but I've always known it to be there. So it was funny to see it being built. Yeah.
Oh, weird. I'll look out for that next time.
Yeah, look out for it. Okay, so where do you want to rank Daniel and Sam?
What numbers have I got left?
Okay, so you have 2 or 9. I appreciate we probably have to move everything down.
Yes. I might have to shift everything from 1 remains in place. Everything shifts down 1.
Okay.
And they go 3.
2. Right, so then last but certainly not least, we have Sarah and Carl, played by Laura Linney and Rodrigo Santoro. I think it's Santoro.
Your man.
Oh my god, honestly, like, he's so dreamy in this.
He's not my type. I like.
Oh, okay. Fair.
I like Rickman and Firth types as opposed to conventionally hot-looking men.
I like them all, babe. Like, I don't know what that says about me. The men in this film are menning. I will give them that. But yeah, I think like the lust we feel between Sarah and Carl, I just think is so palpable. Okay, so Laura Linney she works at the like publishers. Alan Rickman's her boss, and Carl seems to be the graphic designer, I think they say.
Yeah.
And she's been like head over heels in love with him ever since she got to work here. Everyone knows it. I love how Alan Rickman's Harry talks to Sarah, like trying to encourage her, and that weird like slapping bit they do.
Yeah.
I think it's really cute.
I do find it does come out of nowhere though. It's like, come in here, sit down. Let me tell you, you're in love with this guy. Go on, get out. It's like, all right.
Yeah, no, it's completely inappropriate, completely unprofessional, but clearly everyone knows.
Yeah.
Clearly everyone is just waiting for this office romance to happen.
Yeah.
And I guess the most important thing is like Carl reciprocates. Carl feels the same, and everyone can see that as well, but she can't because she's her. But she has this really complex relationship with her brother, where he's clearly in like an assisted living facility. He needs to have like constant reassurance from her, is like always ringing her. And again, like back to Harry, he's obviously quite an understanding boss if he just lets her like pick up the phone whenever it rings. Like that's really that's some good managing of people. However, my thing would be put the fucking phone on silent. That ringtone goes right through me.
Back in the day, though, I speak from experience, if you had a mobile, you did not have it on silent back in the day. You wanted you wanted everybody to know you had a mobile because mobiles were the new thing. Like I didn't get my first mobile till I was 2001, I think was my first mobile, and you could do your own ringtones at one point, where you could make your own music up, or you'd actually pay for ringtones. It was a different time back then. But yeah, you wanted everyone to know you had a telephone, so there were no putting it on silent back then.
Got you.
And if you put it on a vibrate as well, that'll probably drill a hole in your desk. The vibration of it.
Okay, fair. We're learning things. Okay, so that makes more sense. What do you think of this storyline with Sarah and Carl?
I think from my understanding, they initially set it up to make Sarah look like she's got a partner and that she's talking to someone, because it sounds like, "Hi, darling. Hi, babe," and right at the start, I always think it makes it look like she's got somebody else on the side and that's why she's not going for it. But then you find out it's a brother. But not too early on you find out it's a brother. It's like halfway through her storyline that you find out. Carl is kind of a secondary character in this story for me. It wouldn't matter if he was there or not. I think it's what it represents in her getting some freedom.
Yes.
And stepping away from helping somebody else for a while. And it breaks my heart for her. It really breaks my heart that she just wants a normal life, but she's also got this obligation where she will not leave her brother behind, and she will, because she's the only person in his life, and she chooses him over Carl, and it's really sad.
I know. I think it's a really heartbreaking story, because I fully understand why Sarah does what she does. I in no way judge her for it. It's an impossible situation to find herself in, but you're just willing her just to have just even a night of freedom, a night just for her where she centers herself and centers her own pleasure, and she can't do that. She feels so responsible for her brother. But like, you know, the bit at the Christmas party when Carl like slinks up to her and he's like, oh, just one, like he says it so rushedly, because obviously he's been like working himself up to say it, like, oh, just one dance, if it's just our last chance. And then the Katie Melua song comes on and they still dance, and then he takes her home and she does that cute little like, so excited, but just when they're like, now that's done. Like, that just felt so real. I think Laura Linney just plays it so well, and just so, I don't know, she plays it with such a deep sadness, and like you say, it makes so much sense why. And then obviously when the phone rings, and like that second time, and she's, you know, he asks, obviously the brother asks her to come in, and that's it, you know, donezo. And then they have that final, like, you know, Merry Christmas, Carl, Merry Christmas, Sarah type thing, and it's very much like the nail in the coffin. Yeah.
I think she plays with such dignity. She's not a pushover. She's not. No. It's not like she's being weak or pathetic or anything. It's just something she has to do. And it's family before anything else.
Yes, the brother is her priority, and that's it. That is it. Apparently, in the Red Nose Day special, they for the comic relief one, they didn't include Laura Linney's storyline, but they added in when they rebroadcast it on NBC in the States, and they added in that Laura Linney has got married to Patrick Dempsey, or Patrick Dempsey plays her husband in it. So to kind of give off this idea that she has a happy ending.
Oh, okay.
Because I think people find this one really upsetting, because like it feels so real. Like, it just, like you say, there's no actual bad guy in this storyline. You know, if you go back to the Harry and Karen storyline, like, Harry's clearly the bad guy. You know, he's a bad guy. But in this, there is no bad guy.
No.
It's just shit. It's just a shit situation.
It's a circumstance. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just circumstance. Oh.
My heart.
My heart. Where are you going to rank Sarah and Carl?
2.
Okay. It's my number 1. It makes me cry. It makes me cry. Like, I really love it so much. Maybe I just love to be sad. Who knows?
We all love to be sad.
Sometimes you need to be sad. Sometimes it's really cathartic to be sad.
It is.
Okay.
It absolutely is.
Before we go back to the rankings, and I have a game. So there's one bit of trivia I read, which I just found it really interesting. So you'll remember the Sugar Babe song "Too Lost in You" is playing as we get to the Christmas party, right?
Yes.
So that's on our UK version of this film, but in the States they replaced the Sugar Babes with a Kelly Clarkson song called "The Troubles with Love."
Oh, they play that at the end of the film.
Right, so they play at the end of the UK
They play
version.
at the end of Love Actually, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, but in so the US release, it's instead of the Sugar Babe song.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so writer and director Richard Curtis felt bad for the members of the British band, Keisha, Mutya and Heidi, because like they missed out on that exposure to the US. So to make up for it, he put them on the soundtrack for the film About Time. If you've seen that, I actually really enjoyed that film.
I've seen that bold at that film.
You bawled.
I bawled it like
Oh god,
ugly tears at that film.
Yeah. yeah, 100%.
On a Sunday afternoon whilst I was working, I'm just sat on my computer going, oh my god.
Oh my god, no, that's not the time. That's not the time.
No, I don't remember him being on it. I don't remember.
No, I don't either, but I'm going to take this bit of trivia's word for it. And then also, Heidi Range went on to name her daughter Aurelia after the character in this film.
Oh, that's nice.
Isn't that cute?
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that cute? So I thought that was a really interesting bit of trivia.
I like that.
Yeah, I'm glad you like that.
I have a bit of trivia as well.
Oh my god, please, yes.
That leads to my favourite character in the film.
Oh my god, I forgot. Yes.
So my favourite character in the film is actually Rowan Atkinson in this film.
Oh! I fully forgot!
Because he's typical Rowan Atkinson. His his facial features.
Yes.
Absolutely hilarious. I love this guy. And he's only in the film for probably two scenes. Two scenes. Where he's buying the horrible necklace.
God awful necklace.
And at the airport at the end, and he so whilst he's rapping, he's taking his time, and it's taking on forever. And Alan Rickman's like, "Oh my god, just hurry up, just hurry up!" And so I watched it last night, and he got to the airport bit at the end, and he obviously goes to the gate and says, "Oh, sorry, I can't find my seat." And you think, "Oh, it's been him. He's been him again. He's been stumbly. He's been slow because this is just his MO." And then he turns and gives Liam Neeson this look, and Sam's gone through. And in that second, I don't know what brought it on. I just went, "Oh my god, is he an angel?" And I don't know why I thought it. Yeah. And then I read up on it, and apparently initially he was supposed to be an angel.
Yes.
Stopping Alan Rickman from having the affair and helping Sam. Yeah. And I love that. I love that.
I know. Yeah, definitely. I think the first time you just think he's just be like a bumbling sales assistant, and I love his monologue. I love they'll be ready in the flashes of flashes. I love it. It's so funny. But then when he comes back to give Sam the space to run through security, you realize that no, he's like an apparition. He's there to help our main people. So he was trying to get Alan Rickman to not buy that necklace, to not have the affair.
I mean, the sad thing is that in real life, I don't think it's an affair. I think he broke it off. James Acaster's girlfriend.
Oh, yes.
Dumped him to go out with Rowan Atkinson.
I don't know what to say to that.
Rowan Atkinson's a funny guy. I wouldn't say no. I wouldn't.
No, I mean, I would. I do it for the story. I think.
Just so you can say you've been out with Mr. Bean.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a fully, completely valid reason.
Yes. But no, I wish they'd have kept him like that. That'd been lovely. But
I think it would have been interesting to see how that would have worked, because it's a film that doesn't take itself too seriously in some of its storylines. Obviously, it's playing with a lot of luck in some of the storylines, and then some of it is really, really serious. So I wonder how that would have fitted with the more dark or serious storylines.
I think it probably needs it because it needs a bit of. I think it might have just been too much or too on the nose. I think to have an angel in there,
an angel Christmas. Yeah. I hear you. But thank you for that trivia.
That's all right.
Let's go through our rankings. So our number 9s are the same. We have put Colin and the Americans in at number 9. Makes sense.
Yeah.
8. So your 8 is Billy and Joe. So Bill Nye and Gregor Fisher. My number 8 is Jamie and Aurelia. 7. So your 7 is Natalie and David. And I've put my 7 as Juliet, Mark, and Peter. So then 6. Your 6 is Jamie and Aurelia. My 6 is Billy and Joe. Then your 5 is Juliet, Mark, and Peter, and my 5 is Natalie and David. So I think we literally just swapped our 5s and 6s, our 5s and 7s.
Yeah,
which is interesting. We both have put John and Judy as 4. 3. So your 3 is Daniel and Sam, and my 3 is Harry and Karen. Your 2 is Sarah and Carl, and my 2 is Daniel and Sam. And then your 1 is Harry and Karen, and my 1 is Sarah and Carl. So that's not too crazy different. We don't have massively conflicting opinions.
I think the top end of people is who you'd expect to be up there in terms of like British actors and the roles they play. Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah,
yeah. I think it's like there is definitely like a clear line between like the good stories and then the bad stories.
Yes, agreed.
Yeah. Okay, so Faye, I'm gonna end with a game.
Okay. Is it like Saw?
Ooh, no. In no way is this like Saw. I'd love it to be. If I could do like a Saw crossover with Love Actually, there's something there. No, I didn't go that deep. So on this watch through, I don't know if you noticed, but I started questioning what is the age gap between our couples.
Oh, okay.
Because I suddenly thought, there's no way that Hugh Grant and Martine McCutcheon are the same age, right?
No, but not too dissimilar. Sure.
So let's play that game.
All right. Okay.
How many years do you think there are between Hugh and Martine?
Oh, I'm guessing she'd probably be about 25 in it, and he'd probably be about maybe 10 years.
10 years? 16.
Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay.
16 years. Okay. Now, what do you think the years are between Laura Linney and Rodrigo Santoro?
Oh, I think she's a bit older than him.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd say he was 24.
Okay.
And she is probably in this 32.
Okay, so what do you think? 8 years?
Yes.
11.
What?
This is why I put it in the game. Okay. How many years are between Alan Rickman and Emma Thompson?
Right. Alan Rickman, 2003, so probably about 5. So I'm going to go... I'm going to go 51 for Alan Rickman.
Okay.
And 37... 40.
So was it 51 for Alan and
so 11 years?
So you're saying 11 years. It's 13.
Yeah. All right. Okay. I went too far off on that.
No. Good. That was your closest.
Yes.
But how many are between Alan Rickman and the actress that plays Mia?
Jesus. Okay. So
what's her name? I should really say her name. Heike.
I'm gonna go. Oh, it can't be that much, surely. Can it? I'm gonna go 28.
It's 25.
Oh,
25. You're close though. You're so close.
Yes,
25. That was good. Okay. Colin Firth and Luthia, who plays Aurelia.
In the film, I'm guessing she'd probably be about... Oh, I might go 25 for her, and then Colin Firth was about 15 years.
16. You're getting better. You're tuning in now. This is good. Okay. How many years are between Keira Knightley and Chiwetel Ejiofor?
Right. Okay. So when he was in Kinky Boots, he was probably...
I love hearing her thought process.
Well, we know she was 18.
We do. We know she's 18.
20?
You think there's 20 years difference between them two?
Yeah, I think he might be 38.
There's only 8. He's 26 in this.
Shut up. No. He looks well older than that.
Oh my god, poor Chiwetel. Jesus Christ. I'm even going to double check that because I cannot believe how wrong you just got that.
I know. Right,
Jesus. Where's Chiwetel?
My intrusive thoughts won, clearly, on that one.
No, that was so funny. Where's Keira? There she is. Right, so Chiwetel Ejiofor is 1977 and Keira Knightley is 85. So what's that? Yeah, 8 years.
Wow, okay. That's way more age appropriate than I thought it was going to be.
Yes, that is our best so far. But then how many years are there between Keira Knightley and Andrew Lincoln?
Oh, that makes me think a significant age gap. No. Okay, I'm going to go... Oh... I'm questioning myself now. I'm questioning. I'm going to take it down a bit. So I'm going to go 18.
12.
Oh!
Keep aging up these men!
I know, because they look older. Maybe it's the jumpers they're wearing. Horrible zip-up jumpers.
Everyone looked older in the early 90s.
They really did.
They really did.
Especially
really
men,
did.
they used to spike their hair. And it was
horrible. My God, please.
Hated it.
Okay. How many years are there between Liam Neeson and Claudia Schiffer?
Is Claudia Schiffer older? Ooh. I feel like she might be older.
Okay.
I'm going to go 7 in her...
So you think Claudia Schiffer's 7 years older than Liam?
Yeah.
It's 18. And Liam Neeson is older by 18 years.
Shut up! No! Oh! Wow!
Poor Claudia!
Do you know what it is though? Because I didn't grow up with Liam Neeson, but I grew up with Claudia Schiffer, so in my mind, she's way older than that. Wow, I'm sorry, Claudia.
I know she's just been around in your life a long time.
And I'm what's the word? Projecting my memories on her.
Yeah, exactly.
Dang.
I have one more for you.
Okay.
What is the age difference between Bill Nighy and Britney Spears?
Right, well, you said she was born in 81 and that's my age.
Okay, perfect.
So she was 22 when this came out. I'm going to go 28.
32.
Oh my God!
You were so close!
I was only 4 years off. That
only
is
4 years
disgusting, though, by the way.
It's disgusting. It is the biggest age gap in the film. But yeah, isn't that fascinating?
That's mental.
I just think, like, because there's apart from, obviously, the Alan Rickman and Mia storyline, the age is not a thing in this film, and yet every single man is at least 10 years older than their counterpart.
Did we do Martin Freeman and...
Oh, I haven't done Martin Freeman. They feel like they'd be the same age.
I think they would be the same age.
Yeah, that's a really good list. Sure. Live research. They're 6 years. Martin Freeman is 6 years older than Joanna Page.
Okay, all right. That's all right.
That's the best. That's the best one. Yeah. And I didn't even bother with Chris Marshall and the actresses.
I don't
because
care.
There's too many of them. and we also don't care. Right. Faye, is there anything more we want to discuss on Love Actually?
No, I think we've been pretty thorough.
I think we have.
Yes. I don't think we hit on Rickman too much. We could have gone far worse. I think we were pretty generous with him.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, it's definitely not a pro Harry podcast. To be fair, I think I've definitely been ruder about Mark and Colin.
I definitely have on social media. I definitely have. I have dragged them within an inch of their life.
Drag. Okay, well, Faye, we like to rate our films on how well we think that they represented fat bodies, and we like to rate them out of ourselves. So, a potential 5 Fays, what would you give Love Actually for fat representation?
I'm gonna be diplomatic here and say that I recognise it's of its time. So I still think 2. I think 2 is quite generous. Yeah, I think 2. But again, I'm giving benefit of doubt in this. If I was just first time coming into it as an alien on Earth, not knowing about the 2000s, then I'd be frankly disgusted, and I'd yeet that film into space. But yeah, 2 Fays.
2 Fays. I'm going to give it 1 Hannah. And that is going to Gregor Fisher. Like, it can only go to him. He's our only fat character, with a name anyway. And but other than that, this is a gaslighting mess, and it makes me sad. And it makes me sad that Marty McCutcheon doesn't seem to recognise that. But I'm not her. I can't tell her what to think. She can do what she wants. She just has a platform, which...
I'm going to change it to 1.5. Is that all right? Can I do half of me? 1.5.
We absolutely do accept halves. So yes, 1.5 Faye's, 1 Hannah's. I think that's fair for this film. So, a 20-year-old film. We're not going to get much better.
No.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Faye, for joining me on this festive journey through a British Christmas classic. I really appreciated having you on. Can you please let me and the listeners know where they can find you and more of your work? At
the moment, it's just at Spit Grades on Twitter. I would love to tell you the rest of the socials, but that's what my husband does at the end of these podcasts. After years of doing it, I still don't know them. Twitter is still Twitter X is still the best place to get hold of me if you want to talk horror or anything, any sort of film.
Well, the links to Faye's socials will be in the show notes below. And I'm just going to say Happy Christmas, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and any other kind of holiday you celebrate over this time. I hope you have a fantastic Christmas period, or whenever you listen to this, because I guess you don't have to listen to Love Actually at Christmas.
You do, or it's bad luck. It's bad luck. Yeah.
Well, okay, well, you've heard it here then. Please don't listen to this episode unless it's Christmas. And the listeners can find the podcast at Fats on Film on Instagram and Twitter, and myself at Queen Bee Says on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Oh, and also if you want to email me, you can give me your suggestions. Just let me know what you think at fatsonfilm@outlook.com. Thank you so much for listening, everyone, and I will see you at the next one. And remember to stay fat.